Vishakha, this is getting recorded, so this will go on YouTube. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Now, tell me, what are your visa doubts?
All right. So primarily my visa doubt is, I think, with regard to funding. So I will be self-funding, but in that it is, I have a certain amount of savings, and then I got like an FD that matured, and that's what I will be using. But that amount covers only, say, it covers tuition for 3 years, but according to my I-20, it will cover only 1.5 years. So what I have in the account currently is 1.5 times my I-20 amount. So now my question is, if they ask me for how am I going to fund the rest of my education, what do I say?
So what about your family? Are you married?
I am not married. I do not have any children.
Okay. And what about your parents, your brothers, siblings?
I do have a younger sibling. He lives in Hyderabad. I don't have any immediate family in the States.
No. What about your parents? They are alive?
Yes, they are working. But in terms of a sponsor, my grandfather is going to be, if at all I require it, a sponsor. So I thought I'll get an affidavit of support, I believe.
So your grandfather has funds?
Yes.
Okay. And your parents don't have funds?
It's complicated, but my grandfather is the one who's going to be financially supporting me.
Okay. So, so you have the sponsor. So your question is solved.
All right. So
1.5 times the funds, and
right.
plus the grandfather is supporting you for your education. So you have sufficient funds to cover up your entire cost of education.
Okay. So how do I show them that, or do I say that from the get-go, or do I wait for them to ask? How do I approach this?
Okay. See, the interview is there because the visa officer believes that you are a potential immigrant. And it is your responsibility to prove that you are not. Okay. So you have to not just answer the question, you have to say more than what is required to convince the visa officer that you are not a potential immigrant. Okay, that's the purpose of the interview. So let's suppose if the question is, what is your cost of education? How will you answer that?
My cost of education is around $60,000 per year, inclusive of living expenditure.
Okay. This is as per your I-20 cost, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So what is your bank balance?
My bank balance is around 80,000 US dollars. This is my bank. See, now this is my bank balance. My grandfather will also be supporting me in terms of finances for the 3rd year.
So it's a how many years of program? 3 years.
It's a 3-year program.
Okay. So first and foremost, see, you are a psychologist, right?
Yes.
And interview is all about, how
appearing confident.
Yeah, confident, and it's all about basically how you think, how you answer. Okay, how the other person is going to interpret your answer.
Yes.
So that is all psychology, right?
Yes.
Okay, based on that, the visa officer is going to evaluate yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, so the question was, what was your bank balance? My bank balance is 80,000 US dollars. Okay. Now there is nothing wrong in this. In case the question is asked, your bank balance is not sufficient to cover your cost of education, then you have to say, besides bank balance of 80,000, I have my grandfather who is ready to who is my sponsor, and he has an investment of, let's say, another 80,000 US dollars or another 100,000 US dollars.
Okay.
Which is more than sufficient to cover up my entire cost of education.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Right. So when you are going to basically say, when you're going to understand why this particular question is asked, and then try to see how you're going to answer it, then you will be able to, if they ask you what is your bank balance, and you say it's 80,000, my grandfather is going to sponsor, you are leading the visa officer.
Yes.
Ask the next question, that why is your grandfather sponsoring your education and not your parents?
Yes.
It is because in your answer, you said, my bank balance 80,000, plus I have my grandfather who is going to sponsor. So the visa officer came to know that, okay, your grandfather is sponsoring you through your answer.
Okay, I understand.
Right. So understand that you are leading the visa officer, and you have to be basically very careful how you are going to answer your question. So if you want to give hints to the visa officer that the visa officer asks you question that you want,
Okay.
that you are comfortable with.
Okay.
Am I making sense to you?
Yes, perfect answer.
What are the other questions?
Okay. So this I understand. So in terms of documentation for this, I should take my bank sanction letter, my bank statement, my grandfather's uh, affidavit of support, and should I take his bank sanction letter as well, just in case?
Yeah. You know, sponsor letter doesn't serve the purpose if you're not going to carry the funds. How will the visa officer know that he has the funds or
Correct.
he will have funds?
Correct. All right. So I'll take his bank sanction letter as well. So that was primarily my biggest doubt. The second is, will they ask me why a second master's?
100% they will ask you. One, they'll ask you why now, because the reason is because there is a fear that you are not settled in India, right?
Hmm.
So that's why you are going abroad. You have
Hmm.
done already your masters, and then basically you are, 2018 you did.
Hmm.
Okay, and it's been 2023. So it's like almost like 6 years now.
Hmm.
Okay. Sorry, 5 years. So in these 5 years, you are not settled, and that's why you want to go to US. That's the assumption of the visa officer.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So when he's going to ask you why masters again, that's the assumption. So how are you
Okay.
going to answer it now? Tell me.
All right. So I have been practicing as a counselor for the past 2 years. I've even started my own private practice. However, it is only recently that I have begun to explore this more alternative form of therapy, which is the expressive arts therapy. And to be licensed and to gain a degree and more knowledge, which is why I've decided to apply for this course in Lesley University. It's still a very new form of psychology and it hasn't taken off in India. So there aren't too many institutions that offer an actual degree in this course, which is why I've chosen to study further now and come back to India and practice.
Okay. Now, uh, now when you're saying for the last 2 years, the visa officer will ask you what were you doing earlier.
Okay.
I
So
said
I
you are
shouldn't
leading the
mention.
visa officer, right? You are leading
Right.
the visa officer. You are leading
Right.
the visa officer. So he will ask you what were you doing on the earlier. So you will
Okay.
basically then have to answer that.
Yes.
And if that is not related to what you have been practicing or what you have learned, then the visa officer will say that why did you do this?
Okay. So I shouldn't mention any dates and make it very
You
definite.
are a psychologist, right? I'm sure you understand more than I do, right? I'm telling you that the visa officer is trying to read your mind.
Right.
He is trying to read your mind, right?
Okay.
So your answers are leading for the visa officer to understand whether you're genuine or not. Okay. You are leading the visa officer.
Okay.
So when you are saying for the last 2 years, I've been doing this. Okay. So the visa officer will say, okay, he has the DS 160, he has your I-20. In the DS 160, you mentioned anyway to the DS 160, basically, I don't know what you have filled, but he will basically ask you why you did this, right?
Okay.
So if you are going to put your answer like this, it becomes very obvious for the visa officer to answer. He may not even have to read the DS 160 because he has only 2 or 3 minutes.
Correct.
You have to play that time to your advantage,
Okay. I understand.
right? You have
Right.
to play that time to your advantage.
Okay.
When you answer, you don't have to mention that last 2 years.
Okay. I
Okay.
understand.
If you tell
Also,
it, if you tell it without telling the time frame, then probably the visa officer will understand this better. That okay, you have been practicing this, and that
okay.
you want to have a
Go
new
to the
a new
next
thing
step.
coming up, and that's why you are doing this. And this is not offered much in institutes in India. This is a new thing, and that's why you are studying in US. Perfect.
Okay, I understand. Also, sir, in my DS 160, I did mention I am primarily self-employed. That is my primary source of income. But I also work as a consultant psychologist for Maersk training. Should I mention that as well if he asks, or should I just say
So in your DS 160, you should mention it, right?
I have mentioned it. I
You
have
have
mentioned.
mentioned.
I
No, but
mentioned the
you
paid
should
work
definitely say that because you have to somewhere show that what you are doing is related to.
connected to the course. Okay, I understand. All right. One more question, sir. So my I-20 was based off of my acceptance letter, so it was so and so amount. But then just yesterday, my the person in the university realized that she didn't add my scholarship amount. So now she's given me a new I-20, which is dated yesterday with the updated scholarship amount. So which I-20 should I present?
It's scholarship, right?
Okay,
It's like basically what is interview? You are selling yourself.
right.
Which is selling point? Without scholarship or with scholarship?
With scholarship. It shows that I'm a hard worker, like a merit student, etc.,
Yeah,
etc.
it shows that you have a good profile. It shows that you are a merit-based student. It shows that basically the university is interested in having you. So for which they have given you scholarship. So it does talk, and you should highlight this point in your
Okay. All right. And it doesn't matter that it was dated yesterday. Will they ask why is it dated on the 29th of June?
That's perfectly no problem.
Okay.
I-20 is valid I-20, right? As
Yes.
long as it's a valid I-20, the date of I-20 doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. Then I will
Okay,
present.
in case they ask you, you tell them that in my old I-20 scholarship was not mentioned. So that's why
Okay.
they have sent me the new I-20 with the scholarship. So
Okay.
you have
As
in this,
simple as
you are
that.
trying to lead to the visa officer to ask a question on scholarship. On what basis you got scholarship?
Correct.
That's your advantage point, right?
Correct. I don't think I have any immediate questions as of now, sir, but any tips and tricks that you would like to offer?
No, that's a matlab, it's like you have to be confident. You
Yeah.
have to, only thing is age factor. Why now would be a biggest
Mm,
question for you. And in your starting remark, you said, I have got acceptance from New York University, but I
yes.
will not say this. Okay.
Yes.
See, I don't think that you have to hide anything here,
Okay.
because even if you say you have got New York University, but you can say that in this university, I got a scholarship
Okay.
affordable for me, which is one reason why I have selected this university over New York University. And
Okay.
second, I have done good correspondence, and you found the course content and you like it because of the cost factor. You know,
Okay.
you have selected this one. So there's nothing to hide.
All
I,
right.
it's like basically it's how you are going to think. Okay.
Right.
If the visa officer is going to say, why have you not selected New York University? Then you say,
Right.
I got a scholarship. How much scholarship did you get?
20,000 US dollars.
I got a scholarship of $20,000 per year. Okay. And so it's a huge amount. And
Yes.
that made me to basically look at this university, because this university has now become a lot more affordable. My cost of education has become a lot more affordable. So
Yes.
when you say 60,000 US dollars,
Yes.
that with removing it's like with scholarship or without a scholarship.
Without.
So it becomes 40,000 US dollars,
Yes.
right? So what is the cost of education? My cost of education is 40,000 US dollars, as I have received a 20,000 US dollar scholarship from this university. Highlight your selling point.
Okay. All right. Highlight selling point. Understood. And so other than the main documents, what so bank statements, etc., funding, I understand. Do I need to take my marks cards and my
Everything. You need to carry.
okay, now here's a problem. I don't have my originals with me right now. Is it okay if I take scanned copies?
Why don't you have originals with you?
Because it's in another city and I'm in another city and I didn't think I needed to take it
You need to take it. When is your interview?
on Wednesday.
So you have no options. Normally the visa officer don't check any documents, but
Okay.
you have to carry original. The rule is that you have to carry original, because there are
Oh,
a lot of fake documents, right?
okay.
Okay, so they want to see the original. So at the visa interview, because they don't take your document, they give it back to you. You
Okay.
have to carry the original, not the Xerox copy. But if you don't have, then you take the Xerox copy now. No options.
Okay. I will take the Xerox copy. Hopefully they won't ask. All right, sir. I don't. So just basically appear confident. Don't give away too much information to lead them on to the next question. Be short,
Give
concise.
information that can lead to a favorable question.
Question.
And
Yes.
if the question is asked, basically see that you justify the answer very well, so that the visa
Yes.
officer is convinced. Don't leave the answer half,
Yes.
and don't let it on the imagination of the visa officer. Try to give enough reasons for the visa officer to convince, and don't put unnecessary things that makes doubt on the visa officer.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I understand. I think that's all. That's all. I don't have any further questions.
All the best, and do
Thank
well.
you.
Do
Thank you
like